and gentlemen, brothers and sisters,
This is a journey into sound.
The fattest, funkiest tunes in town.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. My name's Elaine. Some people call me Stock Mom, and this is the Stockhouse U Premarket Show. Here, we do a lot of top-down analysis, in case you were wondering. We love talking about futures, indices, ETFs. We'll talk about individual stocks, our trades, both good and bad, and the psychology behind those good and bad trades. We do not give out financial advice. We'll never tell you how to spend your money. But what we can do is tell you why we take the trades that we do. If you want to talk, please raise your hand, come up on stage. We'd love to have you. If you like these conversations, ping a friend. If you're not already, add the house at the top to be a part of our club, because we do this every single day, lovingly, happily, and with great joy. I'm joined by some of my favorite people. Christopher, Liv. Hey, James. It's always nice to see you, man. Stocky.
Hey, how you doing?
Marcus, good morning.
Good morning.
So normally I like to start our days off with a quote, and I will start today. Today's quote is by Ben Horowitz. It goes like this. Every time you make the hard correct decision, you become a bit more courageous. And every time you make the easy wrong decision, you become a bit more cowardly. If you're a CEO, these choices will lead to a courageous or cowardly company. Something I always think about, and who cares, but we all have people who follow us. We all are the leaders, and it's something that I always talk about as like being the change that you want to see in the world. So at least for me, like it is important to kind of make the hard choice, even if it requires more work. It was so important to me to live with integrity. And in the market even, the hard choice is to actually have that plan and to force myself to stay with these rules. Like the things I tell you guys are the things that I struggle with my damn self. It's patience. It's waiting for confirmation. It's having good technical setups instead of just trading some shit because I like trading Apple and it looks great, which it does. It does look great, but that's not the point. I still have to have a plan. So that same discipline is something that I do for myself, and I hope that everybody else also takes some cues from that. These are things that make me money when I follow. It doesn't have to work for you, but it's been helping me. With that said, Christopher, do you have a quote for us today?
I do. I actually have a double whammy today. I just want to piggyback off of you with the whole patience thing. So I'm going to Warren Buffett today. So the most important quality for an investor is temperament, not intellect. And so yeah, I just want to piggyback off of what you said. Like everybody trades to their own plan. That everybody can be profitable in their own ways, and make sure you're sticking to your plan so it continues to remain profitable for you. That's what's important about it. Not what anybody else can make off of your trades or anything else. It's just to make sure that you are executing your trades to the best of your ability. And then the second quote is Sir John Templeton. So it is the four most dangerous words in investing is it's going to be different this time.
I actually really like that. It's never going to change, for sure. It's that hopium. Good morning, Liv. Do you have a quote for us today?
Good morning. I do have a quote for everyone today. My quote today relates to choice. It is the most powerful tool we have. Everything boils down to choice. We exist in a field of infinite possibilities. Every choice we make shuts in an infinite door or it opens an infinite amount of doors. At any point in time, we can change the direction of our lives by a simple choice. It is all in our hands, our hearts, and our minds. Today, when you trade, realize that you have the choice to stay in a trade that's not going the right way. You have a choice of staying in a trade that's going the right way. But ultimately, at the end of the day, your realized P&L depends on every single move that you choose intraday. So trade well, trade smart, stick to your plan, and realize those gains.
Everybody else, I don't expect you guys to have a quote. You can just say good morning and say what's up, or if you do have something you want to throw out there, go ahead. Good morning, James.
Hey, good morning. I have a quote. I just pulled out one of my books. It's called "How to Day Trade for a Living" by Andrew Aziz. And rule number 4, he said, before you place a trade, always ask: is this stock moving because the overall market is moving, or is it moving because it has a unique fundamental catalyst? So before placing trades, think about the trades that you're placing.
Oh, I love that.
Absolutely.
Rev, good morning.
What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. I got a quote. So, uh, I got hustling on my resume. One thing that you'll never ever hear a hustler say that he don't want to hustle no more, no more, no more. Right. So
No,
that's it. Drop my.
my people. You want to give us a take on that? What's the take there, Rev?
I mean, whether the market's going good, and you're making money, or it's going down and you're making money, or you just see an opportunity to learn from the ebbs and the flows of the market. You just have to always continue to hustle. You have to be a student, and just keep learning and hitting those opportunities to make money. And when you do identify them, take advantage and be confident in your decisions.
I love that. Good morning, Marcus.
Good morning. I got a quote, William Feather. One of the funny things about the stock market is that every time one person buys, another sells, and both think they are astute.
Wow. And last but certainly not least, good morning, Kit.
Well, good morning, Elaine, and happy Tuesday, everyone. My quote is more of a positive one. And I think in these days and times, especially with the market and everything, it's important. So, whether it's in life or trading, remember that you are more than a conqueror. I think a lot of the times we get so bogged down on the bad that we don't focus on the good. We get so bogged down on the things that are going wrong. We don't think about what's going right. And at the end of it, as long as we're still standing, we have conquered whatever it is that we set out to do. So just remember that no matter what, life throws at you, you are more than a conqueror. And I bid y'all a good day.
Kit, your PTR looks, yeah, it looks real good.
Thanks. Those are the new candy grapes that we have now. So thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Seriously, I know you guys want to talk about futures. Let's do this. They're down. No, I woke up today and I saw every single major indice in the red, and I was like, oh, I guess we're having this type of day. But already, it's sort of a split. Now, let's see. Where do we want to start? I think let's start with the S&P 500 futures because that's the one. That's the one. What the hell are we doing at 407? And where are we going from here? Well, I don't know. I don't try to predict the future. I just try to create levels to react to it. And so with that said, the number that I'm thinking about right now and the number that, and by the way, called it yesterday, 407. That was the call. Today, I'm really looking at this 4,100 region, which represents 410 on SPY. I think that, oh my God. Why won't my computer let me be great? Okay, so if we're looking at it on a daily chart right now, we have like this little kind of red doji. After we had an amazing uptick of a day, starting at what we were at like 403 when we started and went all the way up to 407 at the end of the day. So this right here is kind of following a trend line that I saw us come up against, and we were sort of underneath it way back in November of last year and kind of holding on to this upward trend, and then fell out of it as we got rejected and sort of had that downturn of a few weeks that started in February. Right. So right now we're kind of bucking up against the highest growth trend line that I currently have for the S&P 500 futures. Now, what I would love to see is us to push through and actually fall right back into that upward growth trend, which would be an amazingly bullish thing for me. However, even seeing a start of a red day here is also something that could be very bullish. I mean, things don't go straight up, and this could be the start of an amazing setup. So I don't necessarily need today to be the biggest green day. As a matter of fact, I would like to have a nice little red doji of a day. And I mean, or even a green doji of a day, but just show me some indecision, collect here once again. And what I'm looking for is constructive movement. So many times we have these really fast growth periods in the market or with a singular company. And of course, what do we see after extreme growth? Well, we usually see a nice pullback, a reversion to the mean, something that basically, balances out. I mean, people take profits, right? If I'm actually holding long positions and I see this thing pop 30% in a day, I'm going to go ahead and take some profits, pull back and wait for the pullback. So as we sit here, closed yesterday at 406.7, sitting here at 406.0. A nice little pullback, like I said, on the downside. I mean, as long as we hold over the 4,000 region, I'm not really going to be concerned, to be honest. I need to see some building in this area. We have hit new all-time highs, and I really want to see if we're going to stay here or take a pullback. Under the 4,000 region, I'm definitely looking towards 3,970, so representing that 397 region, and then under that would be 390 and 383. But I don't know that we need to worry about that or talk about that right now. We're sitting at 4,007, sorry, 407, and I'm looking to see if we're going to touch 410, and then on the downside, 4,000. So other than that, it's kind of range trading in here. Moving over to the Nasdaq, which was in the green for 2 seconds, but just ticked back red again. Similar shaped thing, right? We had a huge candle of a green day yesterday, and now we're sitting on a slight pullback, a small red moment. Now, for this, it's a little bit of a different thing. For me, and you know what? I'm not going to lie, you guys. I don't know what's going to happen today, right? My short-term predictions, especially with the amount of volatility that we've had, I just can't be sure. However, when I look at this on a weekly chart, I have a clear price target. If we're going to continue to trend up, I would like to see the Nasdaq futures hit 13,800. That's the level. Sorry, and let me explain. So yesterday we closed at 13,585. We're currently sitting at 13,583, so waving back and forth between a slight green and slight red movement right now, 0.01%. And once again, it's like, I don't know. I don't love it when things just go straight to the moon because it tends to hint that we're going to have a pullback. It doesn't necessarily mean that we will, but there's the possibility. So for me, I'm liking this indecision, and I can't predict whether or not we're going to go up or down. However, I have an upward target of 13,800, so a few percentage points from where we're at now. And on the downside, I'm looking at 13,400 as we sit at this 13,000 kind of 600, 585 region. Wow, so it's 200 points kind of to the top and the bottom is sort of where I'm looking at in terms of price direction. And once again, I'm kind of just expecting large amounts of volatility while we wait for this price to settle. And last but not least, kind of looking at the Russell, it's been the same thing. The Russell actually got straight rejected from that 2,300 level. And now I'm looking for the downside. With that said, we have caught up to a lot of our moving averages. And so this tends to at least give stocks or indices the potential to kind of have a reset, show that people are, our moving averages are catching up. Most people at this point are starting to own this index at this price. And it hints at, the possibility for upward momentum. Double last but not least, kind of just moving over to the VIX real quick. Yesterday, we ended the day at 17.9, and today we're sitting at 18. So a little bit of an uptick. I know that we started yesterday at 17.33, and I said, wow, this is an amazingly low day for the VIX. Usually at around 19, I already start to wait for that upward volatility, and we made it all the way down to 17.33. So the fact that we took an uptick from there and we're sitting at 18, I'm not really sure what to expect. Once again, historically, we've been trading in the 19, even 20, like upwards of 21 region, to be honest. So this would be extremely low. I mean, we haven't been at a level like this since January of last year. This is just extremely low. So once again, it's like we're looking to establish trends. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, it takes more than a day. It even takes more than a week to establish a new trend. So I have things that I'm looking for. I mean, I'd love to see volatility continue to fall, to be honest, so we can get some smoother growth curves and have, more clear direction and movement in the market. I know a lot of people are struggling with their trades because it's not necessarily clear. However, high volatility means high levels of price swings, so it goes both ways. Anyways, this is an interesting region once again, and now I'm wondering if we're going to come back up into the range that we've been trading in basically all year and most of last year as well. And with that said, that's my take on the futures. Anybody else looking at futures with me, or do you want to let Chris talk about oil? All right, Chris, take it away.
I was going to say, go ahead,
Hey, Lane,
Patrick.
it's Pat. Hey, guys, sorry. I just wanted to follow up. I don't know if you guys saw, because I was looking at the S&P futures a lot as well, and just the S&P overall. I know that's Elaine's favorite. I don't think she cares about the other indices as much, but that's okay. I'm kidding. But Thomas Lee, he's the Fundstrat founder. He's the former JPM chief equities officer, I believe. And I don't know if you saw his article or his interview yesterday, but he's anticipating the SPY, or the S&P, I should say, not just the SPY, but the S&P to hit 4,200 this April by the end of the month.
Wow, by the end of the month, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, and he's been pretty right. He's been tracking the SPY during the whole pandemic. He was, I believe, the first one to put a 4,100 price target on the SPY back in, I want to say, October of last year.
Wow. Do we have any basis for this price prediction?
Yeah, he says, so basically what you're seeing right now is basically the retailers, so all of us on the clubhouse today, except for Chris. We all know Chris is a secret billion-dollar investor with that oil he does.
Truth.
But he's basically saying the retailers are in, and institutions have been sitting on tons of cash. And now that they're starting to see, like you said, we're getting back to our moving averages. You're starting to see some consolidation. You're seeing some bullish momentum. Moderna announced today that they've got the new partnership to produce, more vaccines. I think it's additional 400 vaccines a minute to help them reach, the 100 million extra. And with the vaccine being open to all adults by, we're just going to say May 1st. I think the administration said the middle of this month, but I'm just going to say May 1st. That he's anticipating that just the S&P will just bullish all the way up to 4,200. Now, he is also saying, though, that the summertime, don't be surprised for a pretty decent correction with just everyone finally able to travel, vacation, go out, yada, yada, yada. Sorry for going on a little bit of a monologue, Elaine. I just wanted to make sure I explained his thought process.
No, I love it. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit farther in the future than I try to predict, or higher than I'd normally try to predict. That's an interesting take for sure. I mean, we have seen a lot of easing in the CDC restrictions. I think a lot of the reopening plays are still kind of on. Although it's the question is, are they still on? It's like there are some parts that are kind of just overpumped. Like every single airline needs to execute at tip-top shape at this point to make sure that, I mean, they're already at pre-pandemic levels, even though they're definitely not at pre-pandemic revenue. Um, that's interesting. I guess I would think that there would be a pullback long before then. That's my only thought, but I have no like decent guidelines for that other than I just don't expect us to just bull straight up there. That would be such a fire moment. How do you
Yeah,
feel
I'll
about
send
that,
you the
Patrick?
article, Elaine, so that way you can see it, and I know you can then, I'd love to get your feedback on it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else have an opinion on SPY at 4,200? I mean, that's like a 420 SPY call.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you, but you already had the basis, right? I mean, everything has to execute perfectly since the price target's everything's already priced in. You have the reopening trade already crowded. Everybody's going for that. And remember, these stocks are looking, you know, 30, 60 days in the future. So in order for those to execute and keep that price up, they have to execute well. So that was a great reason as to why I don't see it hitting 42 before it drops down and hits that support again, right? So that's just my take.
Yeah, fully. I mean, I'd love to see a retesting of the 400 level and then really like 393 one more good time for the one time would be what I would love to see. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
after we broke the 4,000 last week, I think we may be experiencing maybe like a little short squeeze. So I can definitely see us hitting the 20. I mean, I'm sorry, the 4,200 here.
Really? You too, James? That's an
Yep.
you guys, we might have to actually like place something on this because
Stocky Balboa on the SPY.
I do not. All right, okay. With that said, let's keep moving. Chris, you want to talk about oil?
Yeah, I mean, we got a couple of things that we want to talk about. Let's do the outlook on oil, and then I'll jump into the charts. So last week, or last couple of weeks, of course, we've had negative catalyst after negative catalyst after negative catalyst, despite OPEC saying we're going to get some slow, consistent growth. And they're also, the price targets, of course, towards $80. However, of course, with that OPEC meeting, they're talking about making more supply, of course, getting up to 500,000 barrels per day, I think was the exact numbers that I read off. But let's talk about today and what's looking into the future as far as oil. So right now we've got the U.S. and Iran are holding nuclear talks in Vienna on Tuesday. And that's going to pave the way for potential lifting sanctions on Iranian oil exports. However, the chance for a deal to be struck anytime soon remains thin, alleviating some pressures on prices. However, we also have, climbing COVID-19 cases in the EU, and an extension on the foreign travel ban in the UK that's going to dampen the outlook for demand right now. So that is just the news as far as what we have updated. Of course, we're still seeing a slow trickle up back from, the Suez Canal, the Evergreen. So we're still at that $60 price range. It did go down a little bit because people were fearful of those talks with Iran on Tuesday. But after the job reports and the economic bullishness from the U.S. and China, we're looking good. So we're sitting at currently. We're up right now. We're currently up almost 2% back to 59.77, which really isn't back to 59.77. Like I said, we're going to see some chop from that 59.50 range to that 60.50 range. And until we break over that 61.52 level, we're not going to be looking at an upside. We're just going to be looking at some chop just until they get past these political setbacks. And as far as Brent oil, I mean, same thing, right? We were talking about that 63 to 65 range, and here we sit, 63.16, 63.18. I'd like to see us break up over 63.49 before I believe that we're going to make some sort of bullish move. But until then, we could be sitting between that 63.20 to 62.79 just for a little while here. Like I said, until we get past these political moments that we're going through right now. It could be, of course, that 500,000 barrels per day is expected towards July. And so that's really my forecast before we see that really next leg up before the 70s and 80s again. So I'm looking at June, July before we see some solid movement on the oil side. And that's what I have right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, and even looking like on the American side, I don't know if you guys follow Chris. I know you might be into this at this point. But the crude oil stock change. So this happens. I want to say every week. It's like every 2 weeks. And it basically they will tell you the amount of oil barrels per gallon. 3.91 barrels to the million. Sorry, that they're pulling. That they'll tell you the growth every single week, right? And so we're seeing an increase, and that is good. However, we're seeing an increase. We went from 2.9 last week to 3.9 that we're pulling this week. This is a nice increase. We reduced in the beginning of March, like Chris was saying, related to that Suez Canal incident. However, I'm loving where we're actually seeing oil right now, especially in this 58 region as we kind of make the push towards summer where we sort of expect gas prices to rise. And like the target tends to be around the $80 region. So this is giving us a really good place kind of in a setup for the run if we do have it. I'm really liking where we're at on the supply side where OPEC did say that they were going to increase oil. However, it wasn't by a drastic amount. You never know with these things on the American and the OPEC side for people actually to keep their word. But right now, the growth and supply side seems to be in line, in order, and giving us both the low prices that we need to have a strong economic recovery while saving room for the growth that we would expect during the summer on this very enjoyable cyclical trade of ours. Anybody else looking at oil, or you guys want to move on? All right. So some days we do trash trades. Some days we do treat yourself. Some days we talk about how much money you must hate. What are we going to do today? Anybody have a preference?
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Can we poll? Like, Stacky, I saw you took your mic off mute. What do you want to do today?
Trash trade. Treat yourself.
Trash trades or treat yourself? Anybody want to make a tiebreaker between one of those two?
Let's do treat yourself. We've done a lot of trash trades.
I don't have any trash trades to share. These has just been nothing but gold over here.
Treat yourself it is.
All right. So sometimes we talk about the trash trades that we make, but I'd love to know how you guys treated yourself. For me, I'm not treating myself. I'm treating myself to a nice long study session every day until next Sunday when I take this damn securities essentials test. And after that, it's gonna be steak and lobster. Like it's gonna be, I'm going outside and I'm going to have a moment with champagne and all of those things and a massage. I'm gonna go nuts, you guys. But right now I'm just head in the books and eyes on charts. So I don't know if that counts or doesn't count, but that's what I'm on. Who's next?
I'll go. Today I'm gonna go painting with my girlfriend at this like wine and I don't drink alcohol, but I'm gonna drink water and paint for like an hour. That's pretty much it.
Liv, can we talk about the treat yourself from last week for a second? How'd you lose your phone? Where'd you go?
Okay, so I went to Marco Island and pretty much, long story short, it got wet because it fell in they have like this, one of the hotels has the like infinite pool or whatever, and I was trying to take some selfies.
Not the infinite pool or whatever. Who cares?
Or whatever. Slight flex.
Yeah, basically, iPhones don't like water as much as they claim to be.
No, Liv, you got to spend some of those tendies on the new one, man. The new ones are definitely waterproof. Well, I don't know. I've dunked mine in a good amount of water and it's fine.
Mine's made it through a washing machine cycle. Don't ask how, but it did.
Wow.
Yeah, Liv, you got to get off that iPhone 8, man. Go ahead and spend some of that fucking hard-earned stock money.
All right. I like that. I will.
The bot will give it back to you. Speaking of that, the bot is amazing, guys. You definitely should check it out.
Yeah, I got a treat. I made a gamble trade in GameStop last week, and so during Easter Sunday, I treated myself to a nice lamb.
Oh, nice. That is awesome.
I saw that on the IG post. It looked amazing, man.
It was delicious. It was juicy.
As you should. It's important to take care of yourself, man. Anybody else?
Vanessa, I saw you come off mute and I started talking. Did you want to say something?
Hey, Vanessa, I missed you. I was so scared. I'm glad you're here. What's up? Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Last weekend I went and got a massage. Got my nails done, toes done, and just really relaxed. So that was like my treat yourself.
I love that. But exactly.
We love to see
I
it.
know that exactly. Money
Anybody
bags.
else?
Siobhan, do you have a treat yourself for us?
I'm still enjoying my treat yourself, man. I think I'm off since Friday, enjoying my time in Texas. I'll be back tomorrow and then see what happens on Thursday.
Oh, no wonder. I was wondering what happened to you, Shivam. You've
Exactly.
been off.
I am
Chilling.
completely signed off. I'm enjoying it. I had to join today. I was like, let's see what the fam is doing. But yeah, completely signed off, enjoying it. No clubhouse, no social interaction, and not even a single bit of work. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw your Twitter post. You were saying something about the only thing you were doing was selling positions. You didn't
Yes,
buy
the only
anything.
thing I'm doing is selling. You all know how much I love Digital Turbine. I'm in Austin, so I was happy to see their overall facility and all that stuff, at least from the outside. Um, and just reaffirms your faith as an investor in the company. So yeah, that was pretty special.
All right. Well, unless anybody else wants to go, we'll do this refresh and start talking about some news.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first place every morning you should stop to get your stock market news. That's right, I'm talking about the morning show presented by Stockhouse University. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. This is a conversation amongst friends that love talking about stocks and want to improve our profitability by coming here every day, talking about the market, relevant news, and how we're going to use that information to be profitable. We think education should be accessible and affordable to everyone, so we have a free Discord that has tons of resources and over 1,800 amazing members at all different skill levels that are also talking about the market, and they're trying to grow as well. We also do free classes on Sundays, and we would love it if you would join that community and contribute, because together we are so much more powerful than we are individually. Invite your friends, invite your family. Let's all create opportunities for generational wealth. Also, if you like the conversations that we have here, make sure to click the greenhouse on the top and join the community. We'd love to continue the conversations, and we would love it if you guys would contribute every time we're on stage, not just in the Stockhouse U family. Thank you.
All right. I've kind of been missing talking about the sector ETFs, to be honest, but it's like there's never enough time to do all the things I really want to do, because we're treating ourselves too good. So with that said, I'm going to do a quick rundown, because we're at some interesting places with all of these. So XLI, or industrial sector ETF, is sitting at 100 right now, which is all-time high territory. Not only that, but it's way overextended. Now, industrials has been the trade. Like, that is the flavor of the reopening trade. It is airline travel. It is everything going on with the railways. Hey, by the way, speaking of news, I named the room Rumford's Woes because another fucking ship got stuck in the Suez Canal, and it was called the Rumford. You guys, I'm bearish on the Suez Canal. And related to this, shipping prices, shipping container prices specifically have gone through the roof. So, I mean, I don't trade shipping companies very often. It's not something I'm extremely knowledgeable about. And we're in semiconductor time right now, so maybe I won't. But it's something I really feel like there's a huge opportunity here, because this infrastructure that we have. I mean, in Los Angeles, I don't know if you guys saw, but there's been news about a lineup, because there is a shortage of like dock workers and machinery to unload ships. It's getting bad. And so I don't know. I think that this is like a really huge thing in our global pipeline. Anyways, with that said, the industrial sector trade right now is piping hot. We're well extended over our 9-day, 20-day, 50-day, anything. And so for me personally, I would love to see us come back down to the 98 level and sort of retest there, build up some steam, and then continue to make a nice leg up. But this particular growth curve, specifically in the industrial sector, is just unheard of. Yesterday we closed at 100, and today we're sitting at 99. XLE, our energy sector ETF, representing a lot of oil. They closed yesterday at 49.11, sitting right now at 49.31. And for this trade, I'm actually loving where we're at. This is strongly correlated with what the crude oil prices are, but not necessarily directly, because these companies have debt, because these companies make money, and it's not just the price of crude oil that dictates how any energy company will move. However, it can give you indications on their profitability at the very least, and that can give you some sort of hint of the direction on price target. So with that said, I'd love for us to just chill in this region and let our moving averages catch up. 48 is kind of the low side of where I'm looking at for XLA, and on the high side, I'd love to see 50.78, and kind of a break above that would just show us a nice strong uptrend. Energy demand is there, supply is low, and as long as we have that balance kept in line, we can expect energy prices to move in a certain direction. But that is assuming demand is consistent. I'll only do two more because I really do want to talk news. So XLK, our technology sector ETF, to the moon, to the skies. We've had gap ups the past 2 days, and the question is, where are we going to stop, right? This is an absolute break of the previous kind of bearish to consolidation trend, and now is totally breaking out of that pattern. I mean, even we're at a place where if you look to the left, there's not even that much chop anymore, right? Because we've broken above a lot of the regions that we were stuck in. So yesterday we closed at 138.28. And right now we're sitting at 138.20, barely any change, honestly. And for me, I mean, the question is, are we going to hold here? I mean, yesterday, the previous day, we started at 136, right? So when we have these gap ups, a lot of times, like what you hear people say is like, we need to go back and fill the gap, right? And actually like lay some support lines inside of these regions that we sort of gapped up past. So, I mean, we were sitting and we've been trading between 124 and 130, 133, I guess, for the past, let's see, and since February, yeah, I would say since February. And so this 133 to 139, 140 region, really, although you can definitely look farther down to the chart and say, hey, we do have some support kind of built into this region. I personally am going to say that it's not enough for me to consider that we couldn't absolutely we couldn't hit 140 and take a pullback right back down to 131 and sit here and do that consolidation movement for a little while. So holding over 138, I'm going to be looking for that 139 boost, 139, and then 140, and that would be the height of where I'm looking for right now personally. And really, as long as we hold over 136, I will still be expecting kind of like consolidation to bullish movement. And under that 136 level, I will be looking for us to kind of fill and sit in this 133 to 136, and then under that would put us right back in the chop that we've been sitting in for a few weeks now. And then last but not least, consumer discretionary XLY. So it's like a similar story. I mean, we just gapped up entirely past all of our problem areas. And I mean, it's beautiful to see it, right? And as long as we can hold at this support level. So sorry, we closed yesterday at 173.27 and we're sitting at 172.94 now. Barely a slight pullback. Now this kind of correlates to that same thing I was talking about with the S&P 500, where we had a very strong bullish trend line that we were holding back in February, back in January, back in November even. And we're getting close to pushing back into that trend line again. And so this, I guess, for me, does give like potential to Patrick's, not Patrick, but whoever you're referring to, thesis that we could definitely have a very bullish moment if we continue to hop right back into these trend lines that we've held before. I once again will downgrade my expectations because we had this whole moment. However, I would love to see that. So for me, holding over the 171 region, which has been a historical resistance for us that we hit not one, not two, not three, but four times since the beginning of January, specifically on the January 21st. And we, once again, we're also rejected from this 173.37 level. So for us to be sitting at 173.91 right now in the pre is really a beautiful thing. Oh, sorry, we're sitting at 172.94. So the 173.37 was the last height that we got rejected from. I would love to see us hold above there or approach and at least consolidate around that point to make a next leg up if we are going to continue with this extremely bullish gap up pattern. However, on the downside, if we do not hold over this 171 region, I'll definitely be looking for us to really hit, at the very least, like our moving averages, right? So we have our, let's see, which line is this? We have our 50-day moving average, which is sitting right here at 167. And I think that would be an amazing level for it to actually come back, retest, and then continue to make that next leg up without just having to completely gap. But that would be constructive growth. And a lot of times with our market, we've been seeing just wildly unrestrained buying. Like Patrick was saying again, like the idea that we have this pent up demand and this explosion of people waiting for the reopen trade, waiting for the CDC guidelines to open up. I mean, all of us have been trading the entire time. But a lot of people have just been sitting on cash, waiting for the appropriate time to take a position. And according to the news, according to a lot of our reopening flavor, now is the time. So we'll see if we can really continue to hold this upward trend. And that is my take on a few of our sector ETFs. You guys want to get to the news? What are you looking at, Chris?
I got a few things that I'm looking at. First, we can talk about my baby for a second. Hindenburg gave eBay a short report saying that there's a lot of things that are wrong with this one. So we're down on that trade. And we talk about the good trades and the bad trades. Everybody that's following me on eBay, like, make sure you do your due diligence. I mean, we got bad news today. Just the bottom line. A couple of other things that I was looking at. We were talking about, well, you were talking about, and I think it was either you and Zev yesterday, talking about how the tax rate, like if it were just for the U.S., it would be bad. But if everybody were sort of be welcoming to adopting it, that it would be good for the economy everywhere, making sure that the U.S. stay competitive. And we have the news that Germany is welcoming Yellen's call to work on the global tax minimum rate. And so I like that news there. A couple of other things. Oh, cruise lines aren't looking so good, but airlines are looking amazing. Yeah.
Why do you think cruise lines aren't looking so good? I mean, I was reading an article yesterday about Carnival Cruise Line having an awesome debt to equity ratio, and they're seeing actually increased demand from what they would normally have seen Q3 for this year. So
Sure.
as long as the CDC, as long as they execute, and on top of that, it's not like those stocks are really back where they were pre-pandemic. So unlike the airlines, it's not fully priced in like this recovery yet.
No,
I'm just
I agree
wondering.
with you. I think you're right. I think it is the buying time for cruise lines. I think we're starting to see the effects of what we called out in the airlines, but the
Mhm.
CDC isn't exactly conforming with the cruise lines. Like some people are able to do it, but I mean, Carnival also, just slammed the CDC because they're not able to operate at the rate that they're wanting to right now. And so I think that it is the buying opportunity. But like I said, in airlines, we're looking good. But that's just, my thesis on cruise lines. I think it is the buying time. Airlines, I think we're starting to reap the benefits from that we planted a while ago. We have Southwest bringing back 209 pilots back from furlough. So that's a really good sign as well.
Hey, didn't Delta Airlines just cancel 100 flights, like because they didn't have crew members and didn't have like appropriate staff?
Yeah, that's correct. But I think they also furloughed a lot of people and didn't bring them back.
Yeah,
I'm
but
reading about a bunch of
facts.
like I don't know. Some of these things are getting price upgrades and some of those are getting down. But you're right. I just saw Delta got upgraded from a 55 to a 72. So there you go. I guess Morgan and Stanley sees something in it.
Yeah, I was gonna
Absolutely.
say, and just last week we had the highest foot traffic in airports. It was like 1.6 billion per airport or something like that. So yeah, I mean we're looking good.
Yeah, we're seeing actually there's a ton of price upgrades. Wow. Okay, you're right. JetBlue up to 30 from $18. Southwest Airlines.
Yeah, Delta
Uh,
needs staff.
yeah. The only one that people are talking about is American Airlines. It's so interesting. Okay,
I
I like
also
that.
really quickly, and I've for follow for Chris's point, I've seen a lot of sweeps in the options market for somewhat near term. We'll call it 60 days or less of expiration on airlines and cruises, Carnival, UAL, DAL, and AAL, and what's it? Norwegian are the five that I've seen the biggest sweeps on.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of activity on the Carnival Norwegian as well. That's really great information. Thanks, Patrick. Liv, Have you been seeing sweeps on your bot that you've coded to see
Besides
both
the
sweeps and
GX
blocks?
on the moon right now, that call
Oh
out
yeah.
is just crazy.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to shout out and let you guys know that the bot is accessible for everyone again. Just retracted that and let it stay free. Wasn't really going to keep going with monetization. I am going to keep adding features, but it won't be forever. I'm letting you guys have access to it, and then eventually I'm going to be pulling it down. But in regards to what I'm seeing in the options chain, yeah, there are a lot of out of the money heavy interest in especially American Airlines and Delta. Hopefully the options feature can be done pretty soon, and I'm also working on a news feature that's going to be real time. But in terms of like news for me today, I think Apple having kind of hinted about the Apple car is getting people really excited. And Apple is a flashy company just like Tesla in that sense that, you know, it's cool if Apple's gonna have an Apple car. And that's really all I have. I'm sure everyone else has more important news to share. Thank you.
Well, I think Apple is getting some love today because LG is like not going to be making phones, so people think that the business is going to go to Apple. And I read somewhere that Snapchat got a price target upgrade to $75. And that's all I have.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if
So,
Apple's going to outperform the entire market, because we're still having like a really middling day. All of our major indices right now kind of ticked in the red, not by much, but enough that it's an interesting start to the morning. I mean, yesterday we were sitting up 0.5, almost 1% in some of them, to 1.5 on the Russell, right? So for us to be sitting right now in the negatives by negative 0.06, 0.12, I wonder if Apple's going to outperform because we have seen good news, and it is a great place in the chart right now. Sorry, who was going to talk?
no, I just had a little bit of input on the global wide corporate tax rate that they're trying to implement. And I just think that's the pressure on the higher interest rate environment that we have in some of the developed nations. And exactly what we were talking about a few days ago, how other companies are trying to keep up. But I just think of this as a way for, of course, the nations to get on one page and try to generate as much revenue as possible. I mean, of course, they're going to still be tax havens, but this way, they can have control of like the LIBOR rate or the bond rate here. So I think it's a global implementation of just trying to get more money and control the interest rates a little bit more.
Yeah, some interesting things I've been looking at. So China curtailed their loans. They said that they noticed that there was so apparently there was a 16% increase in the amount of new loans given in the first 2 months of the year. And they've asked all of the banks and banks outside of China to curtail those loans to stay in line with previous year loan rates. Not only that, and they're trying to avoid a bubble. And it's like, I know that I don't know, like that makes so much sense to me. It's like a wonder why we don't have a more active, and I know this is the bare difference between Republicans and Democrats, but it's not as though like it's like preventative measures to prevent. Everybody keeps talking about inflation in the US, and it's like we feel it, we see it, we know that the numbers given by the Fed are not true representations, and yet and still it's like you get this kind of dog and pony show of like, oh, it's okay, look over here, look at this growth. And on the different side, like the Fed keeps talking about, like I've read a whole article about like, because unemployment has risen, dropped, right, and continues to drop. We're seeing new jobs added. However, in one community and in many, I'm sure actually underrepresented communities, it has not. Like the unemployment rate for the Black community has barely gone down, and in some places it's just stayed solid, right? And looking at like the lowest wage job growth in Atlanta, once again being outpaced by the rest of the country, right? So it's like there are so many places, and they keep talking about this, they keep raising an issue. I did see Biden do something talking about dealing with the housing crisis, so I'll have to read more news unless somebody kind of already queued up on that. But it's like there are some specific groups and specific situations in our country that I feel like still have not been addressed or haven't even been adequately like talked about from a legislative perspective. And it's crazy to see China just being so succinct and direct about the things that they're concerned about. I don't know. I wish Sleepy Joe would get on it, but whatever. He is active. Maybe I'm just not hearing what I would like to hear. Outside of that, Fauci says that the government won't mandate vaccine passports, which is an interesting stance as well. Like, and I'm wondering if that's more political or not, right? Because countries will definitely be making people have vaccine passports, and businesses will definitely be making people have vaccine passports. And California will most likely, we've heard that New York will be instituting vaccine passports. So the fact that it's not going to happen on a federal level is like, it feels like it's asking for just more and more controversy. And it is what it is. I know there's a quarter of the country that's probably not even going to want to take it in the first place, but that doesn't matter. It's about being able to check and know, right? Like, I don't understand why this isn't our top priority, especially seeing the amount of, mutations that are continuing to grow. Like, that's all it takes, right? One mutation to get out of hand, and knowing the places where those people have been kind of doing this people tracking thing. We already have all the tracking on our phones. I don't know why they act like they're not tracking us, but like being more out and direct about the information that they actually need and what use case it would have would be something I'd love to see, but maybe I'm just a heavy-handed liberal type.
Yeah,
You have
it's
something to say,
okay if
James?
it's okay if I say anything. Yeah, I
Go
think it
for
makes
it.
sense. I think we already have a process for stuff like this. Whenever you apply for a visa to visit another country, there are certain shots and also like immunizations that you have to take. So I don't think we need a COVID-19 passport per se because we do have things already in place.
I mean, that's not for like out of country travel, but it's more like interstate travel, right? Like if a bunch of people from like one of the states that's not really doing particularly well all come in and none of them are vaccinated, like that would be a key thing to kind of know. But currently we have no metric, and it's going to be left up to businesses, and some businesses are going to are going to care a lot, and some aren't going to care at all. And I think we're just going to see more of, the protesting kind of back and forth where nobody understands what science is anymore for some reason.
Oh, that's the question. What's the difference between taking an airplane and driving there?
I agree. I think, yeah, I
What?
agree.
I mean, there is no difference. Like, I want it all. I don't care if you
Exactly.
hop on it. I don't care if you walk. Like, I would like to know
Ride a
that.
bike.
Yeah, ride a bike. I don't care if you saunter in there, if you crip walk in there, but like I would like to know who's vaccinated and who's not. But whatever. Just moving kind of down. Let's see. Actually, you
Square.
guys. Oh, you want to talk about Square? I was going to talk about
Yeah.
fertilizer stocks.
I mean, go ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
No, it's cool. Let's go to Square.
All right. So, Fidelity, Square, and a couple other companies launched Bitcoin Trade Group. So yeah, Paradigm, Coinbase also signs on as one of the initial members as Bitcoin Trade Group. So that's pretty exciting. The crazy thing is about Apple, and the other thing that I was going to throw in there while everybody was beating me up about, one, unemployment rates in Atlanta, two, LG, good gosh, slap me. The fact that Apple, right, like I'm literally waiting on them with the Apple Card and Apple Pay to say something about the fact that they're accepting Bitcoin, and like instantly everything about all of these plays all of a sudden start to make sense, and everything's going to the moon at the same time. That's just the thesis though.
Yeah, so on my side, I was reading something about India actually looking to continue to grow on their potash contracts. And potash is a type of fertilizer, basically. There are a number of American companies that would potentially benefit from the contract side of this. Mosaic, Nutrient, Intrepid, and CF Industries. And then on the other side, like Scott's Miracle-Gro. And like regardless of that use case, which is another need, the fertilizer section is a great place to get like some sympathy for the marijuana section if you're not really like trying to hold on to marijuana stocks while we're in this indiscriminate place, but still looking for the upside on that. I've been looking at fertilizer stocks very specifically for that reason. And with that said, we have 2 minutes for everybody to say what's on their watch list. I'll start first. I would love to trade Apple. I'd love to see him hold over 127. I'm looking for 131 on the downside. If we break under 125, I'll be looking for the 122 retracement. Just don't know what's going to happen today. Christopher, top one in 15 seconds or less.
Square. Yeah, that's it.
Do you have an entry and exit? Is this your first rodeo here? It's okay.
Well,
We'll
off the cuff, I was
it.
really trading Apple, and you just took it, but we had this little thing, so I understand why you said Apple. So for Square, I'm looking for 229.30 as an entry, 232 exit.
Liv.
I'm playing HGEN. That's the ticker, HGEN. Humigan. I'm looking for an entry. It's very overpriced currently right now. They're waiting for an approval, but the entry downward would be 1750, and then the entry upward would be if it actually breaks past 20, and that's it.
James. Going once, going twice on James. Stocky, what are you looking at for today?
Last trades. So I'm just sitting on my hands right now. I see the markets hitting that resistance. I want to see a resistance right now and a slight pullback before I'm comfortable with looking at anything again. I think that if we hit a couple of days of the 407 resistance or the 406 and we gap down, that would be a great opportunity for me to get some short-term calls or something like that. But yeah, I'm just studying, just waiting and watching and wishing and hoping and praying.
Marcus, what are you looking at for today?
I was looking at it's actually a COVID play, Cytodine, and they have a therapy for people with, it's not a vaccine, it's actually a treatment. So I'm looking at that one for entry point, CYDY.
And last but not least, Daniel, what are you looking at for today, man?
I'm watching LTNC with the catalysts that we have today. There's a huge sell-off on EENF. I think it's down like 85%, and EENF down. I think a lot of that money is going over to LTNC as well. I'm already in it though, so I don't really necessarily have entry and exit. I want to exit at a dime. It's at 8.1 cents right now, and I want to exit at a dime, and then after that, hopefully wait for a dip and get a bigger long-term position. I'm up like 500% already though.
All right, flex on him, Daniel. I mean, whatever. I don't want to talk about the water trade. I will say for everybody, both Intel and Applied Materials are having like presentations today. They should have a strong effect on price action. They both happen at 11 o'clock Eastern, so coming up fairly soon. I would really watch out for that if you're a semiconductor tech person. Like this is what we want. This is what we waited for. And with that said, let's get some affirmations. I am calm. I am confident. And I am prepared. I trade with a plan. My plan has an entry, an exit, a stop loss. And I follow my plan religiously. My plans are successful. And because of that, I am successful. And I will continue to be successful. I'm happy. I love where I'm at right now, and I love where the market's at. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for the opportunity to create generational wealth, not just for myself, but for the people that I care about. Hope everybody has a great green day. And this is Stockhouse U, and we're out of here.